So, I recorded this video a month ago, but then Baldur's Gate happened and I kind of forgot to exist for a while. But I'm here again, hopefully with a somewhat good video this time. Remember Age? And neither do I. But at the time of its release, I was really looking forward to play it. I love post-apocalyptic games, and while the Fallout series is more RPG oriented, this one is more linear, explosive and frantic. In an unfortunate series of events, a huge meteorite was bound to collide with Earth, destroying everything on impact. Knowing that the end was near, humanity hid the best and smartest men and women underground in these so-called arcs, special capsules that served to protect mankind and allowed to rebuild the future. But a traitor rigged some of the arcs, making the ones containing his allies resurface earlier, gaining world domination in this way. So, what do you do when society collapses and raiders, monsters and dictators roam the wastes? You raise your fist and start to brawl. Can you beat rage with only your fists? We get our first taste of danger by getting jumped by a raider, who gets casually sniped by our man of the day, Dan Hagar. I admire his magic steering wheel while he... Oh, che palle. I admire his magic steering wheel while he drives, explaining to me that the authority, the big evil of these games, wants me dead or captured. He forced me to do some odd jobs for him, involving the total annihilation of his neighbors, the ghosts. He gives me a gun, but I hate modernity. After a quick drive on his squad, trying out the driving controls, I arrived at the raider's hideout to punch someone. The movement is terrible. It feels like you're constantly You're constantly skating on ice coated in soap. Everything is slippery, and every small stair, mound of dirt or slightly elevated obstacle makes you jump. The punches deal little damage, and already I'm struggling to fight even a single enemy. Further into the hideout I get captured, I get a Mussolini POV for a while, and then I die. Yeah, we're dead. But we also discover that we can reanimate ourselves with the nanotrites that live in our body, little computers that heals us. I struggle to get out of the enemy cove. I can hardly walk and I have no ways to defend myself other than jumping and moving like a crazy duck. I was actually asking myself if this idea was even possible, but there was worse things to come. I get back to Dan, but before continuing the main quest, I get curious about playing the DLC. So I delved into the Hagar's caves, falling again and meeting a strange girl, that I think is supposed to be sexy but has really strange body movements. The enemies of the DLC are the Scorched, a gaggle of fire enthusiasts that takes so many punches before dying. It's also my first encounter with the Heavy class of human enemies. They are bigger, more protected, and deal more damage. My fist managed to ignite the fuel tank on his back, and I watch in awe as he flies in the air, exploding immediately after. After the first set of game overs, I was starting to lose faith. Little did I know, hitting rock bottom only aided me in beating this challenge. Dying multiple times, I discovered that fists can steal headshots, and by improving my aim with my hands, I was able to down an opponent in 3 hits. With the bandages always ready to be used, a quick heal that I should have stocked earlier, I press forward, beating those Scorched one by one. Sarah commands me to take her weapon, else I can't get out, and I return to follow the main quest. The Outriggers, a somewhat friendly family of the Hagars, needs my help to take care of some of their problems. Instead, I derail again to deal with the Scorched, entering their second lair. I was still learning to be a real Kenshiro, and this mission proved to be the most harrowing yet. I got stuck here for about 2 hours, running from enemies where I could and sparing my few healing items. The last room of this area was an arena-like combat, when I have to fend off waves of flying Scorched waiting for them to open the door. Non funziona così, no. Where I had to fend off wave of flying Scorched waiting for them to open the door. Here, I discovered that the Scorched are building a flying ship, a possible terror that me and Sarah will have to destroy. But first, I finally sell all my ammunition to stock up on healing items. Things are looking brighter by the minutes. The Hagar wants me to have a better car, but to do that I need to enter the Wasted garage to take their car parts. Now that I think about it, the Wasted aren't a prevalent enemy around. They are only here in this garage that is only a few meters away from the Hagars and the Ghost also. Quite a small neighbor, full of violence. After dealing with the Scorched, the Wasted are a joke. They deal almost no damage, they can be killed easily with headshots, and they drop good loot. But then the boss stumped me completely. He's in his car, shooting from his turret, and I don't have arms long enough to reach him. After a few minutes of pondering, I just decided to throw some grenades and kill him, failing the run in the process. But I didn't want to stop playing, I was actually having fun, so despite the failure, I go along with the main story, freeing the passage to Wellspring. Here, I use my insane amount of money to buy 2 armor upgrades and more healing items, as I constantly need them to stay alive. I meet Sarah again, and we discover that in order to get information from this ex-Scorched, we need to buy him a pass to flee the region. I also find time to race with my car, getting always the first prize in every competition. I'm so good at driving that I accidentally explode a radar car while minding my business. I like to think that I had my fist raised out of the window, and that's what killed it. I finally arrive at the Mutant Bash Arena, probably the most memorable part of Rage. Here, J.K. Styles wants to test my strengths in a series of matches, battling Mutant to earn cash. We need him to progress both Sarah's quest and the main quest. This will allow us to get a better car in the near future. The mutants are a joke, taking literally one headshot to die. There are also these raised mutants that I can't quite reach, and no, I'm not moving while jumping. The characters just slip off everything. I pass the slot machine round trying to shoot with my fingers, to no avail sadly, and I finally confront the big mutant known as the Kraken. He is surprisingly easy, consider that he can two-shot me. I also go and fight the DLC arena, while giggling at the combined sound of punch headshot and money collect. Sadly, I wasn't recording the game audio, it's the only thing that I lost from this whole recording. Speaking of losing, guess who is shooting me from an unreachable place? I think this DLC is meant to be tackled at a later stage of the game, because we are meeting all sorts of mutants. Also, the raised one kind, and unreachable. Back to Sarah, we try to infiltrate the Scorched hideout, but she gets captured, so it's up to me to fight a new and easier type of mutants, all the while reaching a generic Mile Temple. I don't know how it got here, we literally got under the sewers. Best not to ask. I solved some Indiana puzzles, I solved some Indiana Jones puzzles, I have to shoot a door to open it, and I finally get to the main boss of DLC. A ship. With guns. I try to fist it, bravely jumping in the void, and falling out of the map in the process. No ways around it, you have to use the rocket launcher. With sadness in my heart, I battle the ship, and I try to imagine myself punching it with my psychic powers. I finally rescue Sarah, and for all this I get a house. With her inside and just one bed. I don't know what they are implying, so I just snap my fingers and move on. I run another race, this time with a sponsored car, and I swear that this reminds me so much about Jak and Daxter, specifically the third and the X. And I love Jak X. I don't usually play racing games, but that one was really awesome. I get the new car and off I go to meet Dr. Kvasir, who lives and works in an Ark. He tasked me to reach the Dead City, beautiful name, and retrieve an upgrade for my reviving heart. This city is infested with mutants, and I finally get toe-to-toe with the same fucker that was shooting me from the platform in the arena. Giant mutants are so easy, not only they struggle to hit you, but in doing so they destroy all of their allies. I fall in an ambush where a disrespectful mutant taunted me behind the window. I can't reach him with my fist, so... I delve deeper into the city, and the game gives me another rocket launcher. I'm actually afraid of what's gonna happen. Yeah, I try to beat him up with my hands, but to no avail. This run is failing times and times again, and it will fail times and times more. After I retrieve my upgrade, I have to deal with the Shrouded and their explosive RC cars. I don't have anything to safely destroy them, so I just eat them with my face. They are no match for me, even with guns and armor and another unreachable enemy. Mission failed. And for that terrible scene, I get surrounded and I die. This is a good moment to talk about me and what I'm working with. My PC is old. My PC is old, barely capable of recording and editing such heavy videos. I'm doing what I can, and I'm trying to improve my machine to have an easier time recording more recent games, so maybe stick around and you'll see some improvements. Back in the game, after doing some more pointless and repetitive jobs, I finally meet a member of the Resistance, the group that wants to fight the Authority. Marshall, their captain, is held captive in a prison nearby. I storm in, dying immediately, and then I proceed to punch every generator that I can get my hands on. I have to fight the Authority, and they are no joke. Heavily armored, with energy weapons and shield to make things worse. I can still kill them in 5 headshots, but from now on, things will be harder. I grenade another generator, failing yet again, and I free Marshall from his cell. Together we try to escape, but an Authority airship wants to give us trouble. Marshall gets stuck in an elevator, and I'm forced to find another exit, but all of this drama is literally useless as the exit is like 10 meters away. With Marshall saved, I have to delve yet again in the Dead City, searching Authority data to steal and study. The Authority soldiers doesn't scare me anymore, I'm confident in my headshot, and quickly enough I get through the mission. I'm introduced to the Authority heavy soldier, who looks tough but suffers my knuckles just as the rest of them. It's time to leave the Wellspring area. We fly to Subway Town, where the Resistance have its main base, and I start to get some jobs from the apocalyptic version of Silvio Berlusconi. It's just a matter of going in the subways, dealing with a lot of mutants, and blowing up the tunnels. At this point all the missions repeat themselves. This second chapter feels and is very stretched. Silvio then wants me to deal with the local gangs, their gearheads. I hate them, I hate their metal helmets that nullify headshot damage, I hate their robots that doesn't take headshot damage, I hate them all. Also, I died so many times in there. My damage is simply not enough to kill them before they overwhelm me. The last straw was getting stuck behind an heavy gearhead and a fire trap. So I look back and my game crashes, corrupting... Oh, ma è difficilissimo da dire. My game crashes, corrupting like an hour and a half of footage. I managed to retrieve it in a lower quality, so I'll keep it brief. I do some side mission for Dietrich, Richard and Crazy Joe. Now I have 150 health and a fully upgraded armor, an Authority booster that quadruples my damage and other healing items. This is enough to deal with the gearhead and move on. My car is too fragile for this area, so I ran a few races and I managed to win the best car in the game. I won so hard that I had time to crash, fix myself and then stroll to the goal. I still have to destroy the gearhead, so I get out of my car, get immediately shotted by a missile, and I have to use the electric dart of my crossbow to continue. The gearhead proved yet again to be difficult, more so than the Authority. I tried to fight everyone, but with my life at stake I just started running and hiding, waiting for the elevator to save me. The elevator gets dropped with me in it, I die and I revive in like an instant, and I have to deal with the worst trap ever. Just a jab on the heavy is enough to lift his head, which gets chopped immediately by the spinning blades. I reach the final boss, who gets obliterated by my boosted fist. From then, I have to play a tower defense to protect my allies. After the fight I fry them too, and his friend seemed a little shocked about it. Next stop, tribal men that speak strange. They are many and they are tough, so I apply a kamikaze strategy and run away with the loot. The game seems to not like my running, because at the resistant base I clip out of bounds and I fall off the map. While looking at a map of the many arcs in the world, one situated in Puglia based on the dots, they tell me to go and destroy the Authority bridge. So I do just that, driving up there and blowing up the barriers, while feasting some poor futuristic soldiers with my old war hands. I'm finally at the last mission. They give me a huge weapon that I will not use, and I storm the Authority main base with only my boosted fist. I reach the communication center, and I use the terminals to signaling an input to all the other submerged arcs. I defend the process while hordes of mutants storm me, and just like that, we are done. This is literally the ending of Rage 1, a mission that feels and look cut in half. No boss, no hype, just congratulations. So I will do the same. Congrats, you finished the video. Ciao!